Welcome to Clifton Health On Air. I'm your host, Danielle.
And I'm your co-host, Lauren.
And welcome to Clifton Health On Air. We are a local health department podcast here in Clifton, New Jersey. And we also service the township of Little Falls.
And we are located 12 miles west of New York City.
Welcome. And today we are talking about e-cigarettes or vapes. And with us today, we have Layal Helwani, health educator at the Clifton Health Department, and Tom Whittles, president of Clifton Against Substance Abuse, which is CASA. Welcome, both of you. And I just wanted to have a brief discussion about vapes, right? So e-cigarettes or vapes are the most commonly used tobacco product among U.S. youth. According to the CDC, e-cigarettes are the most commonly used tobacco product among U.S. youth. Mm-hmm. What is vaping?
So by now, most of us have heard of vaping. Vaping is the act of inhaling an aerosol that's produced by an e-cigarette or an e-cig, or a vape. You know, you might hear me use those terms interchangeably. So the device heats up a liquid solution that usually contains nicotine, flavorings, and some other chemicals to create, and again, I emphasize, an aerosol. This is not harmless water vapor that we're talking about. This is not something, it's not the steam that comes out of a tea kettle. Think of, what comes out of a hairspray can. It's a mixture of all these chemicals that ultimately gets inhaled into the lungs. So, a lot of people ask, where did vaping come from? So vaping originated in the early 2000s by a pharmacist in China who actually, he had the right intentions. He was looking for a quote-unquote safer alternative to smoking cigarettes. He had lost his father to lung cancer. His father was a very heavy smoker, and that loss was very heavy for him. He himself was also a heavy smoker. He had smoked a pack or two a day. And so he wanted to find, again, a safer alternative to smoking cigarettes, something that wasn't as dangerous. And so he created this device, which actually came to him in a dream.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's
It's interesting. The inspiration for creating this concept came to him in a dream. And so it took off, right, in China. And then it, by 2009, 2010 is when it was introduced to America. I want to say it really took off 2016, 2017 with Juul, right? We've all heard of Juul, which a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Which I'll talk about in a little bit. But it's interesting because the creator of the vape is now a dual user, meaning that he couldn't quite get off of the cigarettes while transitioning to vaping. And so now he does both. So you have to think about, the chemicals and the flavorings and the heavy metals that are introduced. And, of course, everything you get with a cigarette for both devices. Unfortunately, we're seeing that a lot with adults and young adults who are trying to get off of the cigarettes. And so when you think about the purpose of these devices, which was, again, intended to get smokers off of, their cigarettes, the traditional cigarettes, and onto this alternative that was supposed to be safer. Unfortunately, what has actually happened is, we have a whole new generation of youth that has become addicted to these products.
So his intention was for
right.
an adult
to
come off.
Right. And what's happened is that, due to the marketing of these devices and, the promise of it being a stress relief and, being cool to do with among peers, a lot of youth. And, of course, the flavorings. A lot of youth are
and
using.
Let's just touch upon that. So in 2023, e-cigarettes were the most commonly used tobacco product among middle school and high school students in the United States. The CDC states that 2.1 million students currently use e-cigarettes.
Yes.
This includes 550,000 middle schoolers and 1.56 million high school students.
Right.
Right. So there is a problem here, right?
Oh,
so
absolutely.
What,
right.
Yeah. So why are we seeing this, I guess? Like, why? I know you touched upon it because of the flavors and the marketing.
Right.
But do you think that there's anything else?
So the marketing is definitely a huge part of it. It really upsets me when we still hear about these companies that deny ever marketing to youth. Just look at a previous advertisement for Juul. You see young faces, you see smiling faces, you You see the promise of, living a stress-free life and it's good for your mental health, when it actually, studies have found that it's the exact opposite. But with youth, there's several reasons why we're very concerned, specifically with youth using these devices. One of the biggest concerns that we have is there are very high levels of nicotine in these products. It could be between 1 and 3 packs worth of cigarettes,
Wow.
nicotine, in a single, pod or a single device, disposable device. So we're talking about very high levels of nicotine. And when you think about the fact that a young person's brain is not fully developed until about age 25,
Yeah.
right? So they are more sensitive to those effects of nicotine. There's also the concern that vaping becomes a gateway to smoking cigarettes and using other drugs, which is unfortunate because it can, again, studies have found that it can lead to other drug use and possibly a lifetime of addiction. There's also the concern with some of the chemicals that have been found in these, early studies that have looked at these products. Just to give you an idea of one of these chemicals, formaldehyde, right?
Yeah.
Formaldehyde, which a lot
gosh.
of people are familiar with. We know it as a carcinogen. It's found typically in household products, building materials. We know it, as a chemical to preserve dead bodies, right? Very scary that formaldehyde has been found in many samples of that aerosol because it's something that's produced during the heating process as the liquid is converted into an aerosol. Cadmium is an example of a heavy metal that's been found in these devices. That's actually found within the heating coils of the device, and we know again cadmium to be a carcinogen, and it's known to lead to lung issues and kidney issues. So we're seeing kind of, some
there's
common factors with some of these. And flavorings. A lot of people think that the flavorings are harmless, but we know the flavorings to be harmful. Diacetyl is one of those flavorings that is generally recognized as safe for ingestion, but when it comes to inhaling the chemical, it's a problem. So in terms of popcorn lung, have you guys heard of popcorn lung?
I don't know if our listeners
Yes.
actually know what
Yes.
popcorn lung is.
Yeah.
So let's explain.
So diacetyl exposure has been linked to popcorn lung. The actual name is bronchiolitis obliterans. We know it as popcorn lung, which actually got its name from an incident that occurred in the early 2000s, where we found that microwave popcorn factory workers who were just working around diacetyl were getting sick. They were developing all sorts of issues with their lungs, shortness of breath, respiratory issues, wheezing. Some were actually passing away, and that's actually where the term popcorn lung came from. But the actual name for it is bronchiolitis obliterans. Basically what it is it's a serious irreversible lung disease that causes scarring and narrowing of the airways. So it makes it incredibly difficult
That is
for somebody to breathe. And so it's interesting, diacetyl has since been removed from microwave popcorn, still found in many brands of e-cigarettes, right? Because it has that sweet, buttery taste to it. But
boy.
again, when people say that flavorings are safe,
They're clearly not.
They're not safe.
Right.
They're not safe. And so those are some of the concerns we have. Of course, we know that youth are not just vaping, those nicotine solutions. They're vaping worse. They're vaping THC, CBD, which, we heard of something called EVALI, which stands for e-cigarette and vaping associated lung illness, in 2020, right before the pandemic hit, where young people who were otherwise healthy were ending up in the hospital with symptoms that were kind of similar to popcorn lung. So coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath, and it was traced back to, again, vaping, specifically THC solutions.
Wow.
Because there's an ingredient, vitamin E acetate, which has been linked to EVALI.
Wow.
Unfortunately, we stopped counting the cases when the pandemic hit. We kind of put that on the back burner, but I'd be interested to see what the statistics are.
Yeah, I would too. I really do.
So,
and
that's kind of a vaping 101. Tom, I don't know if you
Tom,
have anything to add.
If you would like to chime in
Yes.
as CASA,
yes.
what are your thoughts?
Well, thank you for having me today. And as the president of CASA, I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to work with Layal. I'm learning more about vapes than I've ever known before. CASA is the Municipal Drug Alliance for the city of Clifton. We work very closely with the health department. And what we do is we go out and try to educate the youth about the things that they should stay away from. alcohol, drugs, vapes. We work within the Boys and Girls Club, the Board of Education, and the community. And working with the partnership with the health department on this vape issue, which we all realize now is actually killing our youth. It's
Yeah.
really dangerous stuff. Layal and the health department have done a phenomenal job of getting the message out. But we as an organization, CASA as an organization, we have to do more. We have to educate the community. We have to educate our politicians. We have issues with the laws not being strong enough for the health officers and the health educators to go out and enforce them. Our city council, our city ordinances, our governing body. We've been talking about this for several years, since probably 2000 when
it started,
Layal started dealing with these issues. So it's our role, and we're all volunteers. CASA is made up of all volunteers. We're a board of trustees. We meet monthly.
Okay.
And one of our topics is always on our agenda is vapes, how we're dealing with it, how is the health department, how can we work together with them, just to get the message out about the dangers of vapes.
Awesome. And you touched upon our partnership. In your own words, can you describe the partnership with the Clifton Health Department
It's
and CASA?
the partnership is phenomenal. We really,
I second that. No, we feel the same way about CASA.
the health department. Layal, the whole team. Right from the top, right from John Beagle on down, is take all of this stuff serious. And I tell people. I sat on some of the focus groups.
Oh yeah.
When me as a citizen, again, I'm a volunteer, but me as a citizen, when I have a health question, whether it was during the pandemic, whether it's about vapes, whether it's the legalities of things, you can reach into our health department and know that you're going to get an answer that is true, legitimate, concise, and if they don't have the answer, they'll get it for you. They'll do the research and come back to you with that. That's the partnership that we need, because again, we're all volunteers and we work closely with them to help them get their message, them meaning the health department, get their message out. Without that, it just doesn't work, because people, I just recently spoke at the council meeting, at the last council meeting, and it was really about the vapes, and it was about the smoke shops in the city of Clifton that are selling these things. They're selling them to minors. They're selling, and it's problematic, and it's problematic for us as an organization, problematic as for Layal and the health department, because she can't be at every store.
Right.
She can't be checking every location.
I know.
Wish I could.
We wish we can multiply.
Right.
I know, for sure.
So we have to really work together with our group, the health department,
And
city leaders, the community policing folks are actively involved
Yes.
with us. It's a partnership, and it's collaboration of people coming together for the right reasons. We've been through the opioids and the heroin and all of those things, but vapes is a problem and we don't know what the down the road long-term
Exactly.
Yeah, the
results are
long-term
going to
results
be.
are
You
gonna
talk
be
about
excellent.
popcorn
Yeah.
lung and things like that. These kids don't realize it.
No.
And the schools. I meet with the superintendent pretty regularly.
Yeah.
It's a problem in our schools.
It is, and I know Layal and CASA, you guys do amazing things in partnership with the Board of Ed. And
Yes.
can you just describe what are some of the things that you both do?
Sure. So Tom touched on some of it, but I like to think that we've been ahead of the curve, with
Okay.
some of our education and enforcement efforts. We've been providing education to our middle school and our high school students probably since 2016, 2017. More recently, we've started offering the program to 5th grade students, and this year I believe we're going to offer the program to 4th grade students.
Wow.
Now, a lot of people think that is way too young to offer this type of, vaping prevention education, But here's the thing. So with elementary school, we have an opportunity to intervene, right? There's an opportunity to warn them about the dangers of vaping before they move on to middle school, because again, we're seeing so many middle school students that are becoming hooked. By the time they get to high school, that may be too late, to intervene at that point. So even if the students aren't familiar with what vaping is, which is often the case when I did this program for 5th grade, we have the opportunity to provide them that education so that they can make an informed decision. Right. And we also have to remember that 4th and 5th grade students are at an age where peer pressure, right, can influence their behaviors.
Yes.
And so what we really want to do is equip students with the knowledge and the skills that they need to resist that peer pressure and make healthy choices.
Absolutely.
Again, Tom kind of touched on this a bit, but we've also have been committed to doing the enforcement aspect. Education is great, but it's not enough. We have to hold some of these smoke shops and tobacco establishments accountable for selling to minors. So that's one of the things that we look for. We send in a minor with money provided by the city. We have them attempt to purchase a tobacco product. And whatever the outcome is, we go in, we speak to the owner or the manager, let them know that we just performed a tobacco inspection. And the other thing that we're looking for is making sure that they aren't carrying these illegal flavored vapes, which have been illegal since April of 2020. I still have smoke shops that like to tell me that they didn't know anything about it, but it's been 4 years at this point.
It's been a while.
These places they have to be accountable. They have to do their research. They have to, they can exist, but they have to do it legally.
Right.
They cannot be selling products to minors. We have zero tolerance for that. Absolutely. And they cannot be selling these flavored vapes, which we know that youth are primarily using. And so I just wanted to kind of give a brief update of some of these inspections for 2024. Like I said, we've been doing this for a couple years now, but we've done so far in 2024 21 inspections of smoke shops and hookah establishments. We found 4 that sold to a minor, but we did not send a minor in every case. And we found 11 had flavored vapor products. 3 were suspected to have flavored vapor products, meaning even though we didn't see it when we were there, we had reason to believe that they were selling, whether it was the minor that saw it or if we observed the boxes of flavored vapes in the recycling. And then we did 44 inspections of other establishments, your convenience stores, your supermarkets, your gas stations, and we found that 10 sold to a minor. So this shows you that it's not just a problem with the smoke shops. We have to hold
everyone accountable because we do see a lot of kids after school. They just want to get a snack and stuff like that. So we're gonna hold everyone accountable.
Exactly.
We
have to make sure that we go everywhere in Clifton, and like you said, Danielle, just make sure we're holding them accountable. And our message to the smoke shops is this: we're not going to go away. They wish we would go away, but we're not going to go away until every smoke shop in Clifton and Little Falls is doing the right thing. We're doing this ultimately to protect our youth who are using these products the most. There is no need for a 10-year-old and 11-year-old, sometimes younger, to be exposed to these products and, at risk of being addicted for life. And so, as Tom said, the health department, in collaboration with police, some of the legislative folks, more recently we started doing inspections, or we're going to be doing more inspections with the Division of Taxation because they have a bunch of statutes that they enforce on their end that we are not able.
Can you briefly talk about that?
Yeah. So recently, we were able to make a connection with somebody at the Division of Taxation. Actually, it was a complaint regarding one of our smoke shops, and they were interested in what we were doing. They were interested in our CTASE, Clifton Tobacco Age of Sale Enforcement Program, our partnership with CASA and the police department. And they kind of wanted to join in on that and see, if they could also kind of do their own enforcement with us to kind of make it a stronger collaboration. And so we recently did an inspection at Omar's Smoke Shop, formerly Omar's. Now it's Sky's Smoke Shop on Van Houten. This is one of our problem places, and we did our inspection with the Division of Taxation. There is a court case pending, but we did find a violation in terms of the flavored vapor products. And the Division of Taxation ended up confiscating a large amount of product. So again, there's still a court case pending on that. We'll have to see what happens.
That's wonderful.
And we plan on going to each and every smoke shop and other problem places in the city of Clifton and the township of Little Falls. So again, Tom was, praising us, but I have to praise him and all of his support, with CASA, and his support of our efforts, our education efforts, and our collaboration efforts, the support of our police department, our health officer, John, who's always been so supportive of me going out, whatever you need, he'll make sure I have. He's very passionate about this issue as well. I think as long as we're still here, these inspections will continue until every tobacco establishment in Clifton does the right thing.
Yeah. And this is to save our kids.
It is.
Our children.
It's about the youth.
The youth of Clifton and Little Falls. That is the future. So we want to make
I
sure
mean,
that
you
they're
mentioned
healthy.
2.1 million youth are using,
Yes.
actively using these products on a regular basis, and that's not okay.
Yes, and among students who are currently using e-cigarettes, 1 in 4 use an e-cigarette every day.
Yes.
Every day. And 1 in 3 use an e-cigarette on at least 20 of the last 30 days.
Yeah.
And 9 in 10 are using flavored e-cigarettes.
Yeah.
So when you talk about those flavored e-cigarettes are not geared towards kids.
Yeah.
9 in 10 of them are using it.
They've created
So-
thousands of flavors for
Right.
these products. I
And
mean, I wish they
yeah.
had thousands of flavors of ice cream.
Exactly.
But that's another story.
Like, can't we just feed our kids ice cream?
So
No.
it's a problem.
It
It's
is
a problem,
problem.
and they do their research, and some of these flavors and brands mimic brands that kids are familiar with, right? Sour Patch, right? Different candy brands, cereal brands. Like, it looks way too
cereal brands
familiar.
and anything that's very
Yeah.
kid friendly.
It's not a coincidence,
It's not.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of work to do still, but I think with our collaboration and our passion for what we do, I think we're going to continue to make big strides. I mean, since we started these inspections, the number of locations that are selling the flavored vapes has gone down. But again,
great.
it's these
But
smoke
it's
shops that are,
the problem.
a lot of them are problematic, for the reasons that I mentioned. So.
And
Wow.
one of the message that we have to get out is we have to get that message out not only to the kids, but to the community, to the
Yes.
parents.
Absolutely.
Parents have to know
You're right.
what
Absolutely.
these things are and what they're doing to the health of their children.
Right.
It was interesting because I had met with our superintendent of schools several weeks ago to talk about Layal doing some of the programs in more of the schools.
Right.
And he was telling me that at the high school, they had a major sewer backup.
Yes.
And when they
Oh.
broke open the sewer line, they
That's what
found
they
out that
found.
it was loaded with
With
vapes.
vapes.
Because the kids are, if they're
They're
in the
just
bathroom and
tossing
they're
it.
using
They're
the
hiding
vapes, and
it.
somebody comes in, they throw it in the toilet and they
Yeah.
flush.
Oh,
And
wow.
So and listen, that's the least of our problems.
Right.
Our
I know,
problems
I
are
know.
popcorn
But it shows
lung
you-
and-
Popcorn
Right.
lung and
It does
stuff
show
like
you
that. But
there
it
is a
does
problem.
show there is a
Numbers.
problem in the
Right.
schools.
Shows, and there is a problem in the schools.
It's-
I speak to principals, I speak to the high school principal, I speak to the superintendent. There's a problem. And getting the message out to the community, and I would even say our governing body in the city of Clifton. I'm not sure if everybody realizes. Everybody goes into a 7-Eleven or a
Quick check.
local convenience store where all of this stuff is being sold. If you don't know what you're looking for, you're not going to report it.
Right.
Right.
So getting out to the community and letting the community know what to look for when they go into these stores. And I went to my local convenience store, who I know has been a problem for Layal in the city. And I told the owner, get ready.
Yes.
They're coming. They're going to come and visit you. And, so you'd be better off getting rid of it now before they get here.
Right.
Because the community has to know. Parents have to know what to look for. Parents have to know what to look for in their own child's book bag.
Yes.
Kids put it in their book bag, take it to school with
Yeah.
them.
And they're making it look
Yes.
like a flash drive,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
So they're making it look like highlighters. They're making it look like flash drives.
You wouldn't think twice about
and
them.
you wouldn't think twice.
Right.
But now it's time to let's see if that's really a flash drive. Let's
Right.
see if it's actually a
Right.
highlighter. And then you open it and there's coils coming out.
Yes.
It's
yes.
a vape.
It's a
Let's
vape.
remove that from their backpack. And unfortunately, we do hear some stories where students are getting it from older
Yes.
siblings, or even unfortunately parents
Right.
who leave their vapes. So even like if you are a parent who vapes, let's protect that in
Right.
a locked bag
Yes.
so the kids don't
Exactly.
get it, right?
Exactly.
Have you been seeing a lot of problems with hookah or hookah flavors or any other tobacco product use?
So right now, the hookah flavors, those don't fall under the flavor ban, which is
Oh.
surprising
That's interesting.
to us. It's a flavored tobacco product, but for some reason, there is not a ban on all flavored tobacco products. Right now, it's the vapes, and that's because, again, youth are mostly using those vapes. They're not,
Okay.
There are some that use the hookah, but I guess, some of the the
It's a bit
agencies don't have reason to be concerned. Like, it's not at alarming levels like we're seeing with vaping. Like, with vaping, it's become an epidemic among our youth.
wow.
So, hookah, there's a ton of concerns with hookah. That could be
That could
a
be
whole
a whole
separate
other
podcast episode.
Right.
Yes, and we will have that
Yeah, sure,
some other
yeah.
time.
Yeah, but, I have to say, I think the vapes are more of a concern with youth.
Yeah.
And again, like legislatively,
Right.
it's
Right.
confusing.
It is.
It's confusing for the
confusing
health officers.
for
It's
us.
confusing for the courts. So if we can't get our legislators to come together and put together some strong legislative plan,
Yes.
it's always going to be confusing. I mean, we have the support of our municipal courts here in Clifton.
Yes, thankfully.
There's no, if the legislator don't come up with bills and laws that spell it all out, everybody's going to look for that loophole
Right.
to get out from under. When the sellers of these products tell people, I'll take the fine because it's the cost of doing business.
Exactly.
That's ridiculous.
Wow.
That just because that means the fine ain't stiff enough.
Right.
The health department and the people writing the tickets don't have enough teeth in the law to really go after these people. We gotta work really collectively with our legislators. And I've spoken again.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've
So
spoken
what
to our
would
council.
you suggest are some tips on how we can
Cou-
like
cou-
advocate a little bit?
Couple things
Stronger.
I think that we can do as an organization. And recently they did a presentation at the council meeting. I think we should do a presentation on the vapes. Let the council know what they look like, what's being sold out there in the community. Let the community know. A lot of people, they may not show up at the council meetings, but they tune in. They do watch them on TV. And that's a way of getting the message out to the community. This is what they look like. So if you go into a store and you see a store selling it, pick up the phone and call somebody and let them know. Let the health department know. So Layal can't, like we said earlier, she can't be everywhere.
Yeah.
All the time. We have to
the
have people-
community's backing
Exactly.
to help us.
And
for
then on
sure.
top of that is work with we have new legislators in our district. We have Senator McKeon and Collazo and Bagoli as Assembly. Let's work with them to have them work on tightening the laws and putting real legal language that give the towns. You hear now if you say it, you can't do it under city ordinance because it's legislated by the state.
Right.
But if the city can only issue fines at a certain level, the owners of these these companies and these stores are going to say it's the cost of doing business. But if you can increase the fines
Right.
and then continue to increase the fines with every infraction, that makes it a little bit more.
Little bit
hits
stronger.
them in the pocketbook
Right.
a little bit. Hits 'em in the
Or if I
pocket a
can
little
jump
bit.
in, if there's a certain number of offenses, at what point can we take away their tobacco license,
Right.
or have the state come in and do their own investigation where, their tobacco license is at risk. We have
Yeah.
to kind of have to
Think outside
Thinking
of the
outside
box,
the
for
box a
sure.
little bit.
We gotta
Danielle, I'll tell you, thinking outside of the box
Yeah.
was really, I mean, and kudos to Layal because she thought outside the box. She brought in the Division of Taxation.
Yeah, I think
I mean,
that
that
would
was
be
that was
very
a
helpful.
huge
It is
home
huge.
run
Right.
Yeah.
for us because the law enforcement our narcotic Clifton's got a wonderful law enforcement community.
Yes.
I think one of the best. But they don't have the ability to just walk into a place and
Right.
start checking things. Where the Division of Taxation is going in to look for tax issues.
Yes.
Right.
They can do that. And in partnership with the health department and in partnership with our narcotics division and our local law enforcement, our community policing, we were successful with
Yeah.
Omar's, very successful.
And I think that is it's a good start, but
Yes.
we're here to win the game.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to
Got
bring
that
the
right.
the
Yep.
big hitters in.
Yes.
And so if you're scared of us, just get ready. We're coming for you.
Right,
Like
I
you
agree.
said, we will be coming for you, and we're here to win.
And the
we're
message
here to
will get
save.
out. The message
will.
will get
Our
out.
kids.
The
It has
message
to,
at
yes.
Omar's will go over to Blaze.
Yes.
Will go over. The message
Yeah.
will get out in the community that, and I go back to years ago when Clifton, the police department used to wear T-shirts, chase them to Clifton where the pursuit ends. I mean, this is where it's going to end. It's going to end here because we have a health department team that is John and Layal and
truly
everybody else
cares.
committed to making this problem go away. And like Layal said, here and in Little Falls, you want to go to Passaic? You want to go to Patterson?
Right.
Knock yourself out. You're not going to do it in the
Right.
city of Clifton.
Right.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Tom, so much. And we truly do appreciate your partnership
Absolutely.
with the Clifton Health Department and everything you all are doing. CASA is our
Shining star.
right? They are our shining star, and we do appreciate it. Even when you attended our accreditation events and like our focus group, thank you so much for doing
my
all
pleasure.
of that.
It's our pleasure.
Because
It's CASA's
it is
pleasure.
it is truly important.
Yep.
You are an awesome partnership with the Clifton Health Department. And Layal, I know I wasn't going to say it, but here I am. The anti-vaping queen is going to come for you. Is there any final tips or advice you would like to give our listeners?
I actually do want to remind listeners that we do have a one-pager on flavored vapes. So if you,
Okay.
It kind of shows you what to look for, in terms of, what's being sold at these smoke shops or gas stations or convenience stores. We have a one-pager, and if you see anything, call me.
Where is that found?
It should be on our website.
It's on our
It's
website.
on our website. We've posted it on social media.
Okay.
We can actually repost it just so it's
We'll
more
post
visible.
it. We'll repost it.
Yeah.
We'll definitely post it underneath
Yes.
this podcast
Yeah,
description.
we'll make sure it's visible.
And we'll get the word out
Yeah.
there.
So-
And do you think it would be wise to put it in any of newsletters or things like that as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and I believe we have posted it to newsletters,
Awesome.
and I actually haven't gotten any calls after that went out, but we
We're
can
here
try
to
to push
educate
it. Yeah,
the community. Maybe they don't know what it is.
Right,
but
exactly.
now
right.
they might have an
Absolutely.
idea.
And if we end up doing the presentation for the city council, hopefully word gets out,
Absolutely.
about these devices.
Yes. And so we'll post, as you talked about, the Division of Taxation. That is public.
Yes.
Knowledge,
Yeah, we do
right?
have a press
There is a
release,
press
very
release.
brief,
Okay.
just summarizing what we did, what date, what happened.
Yeah, because
Um,
we're a transparent
Yes.
Health department, so
Yes.
we are not hiding anything.
Yes, and actually, all of the results of the tobacco inspections
Are on our
Yes,
website.
yes.
Okay.
We do have to update it, I believe, but we will make sure
All
it gets on the website.
inspection. So the community knows which ones have failed, which ones have
Absolutely.
sold to minors.
It's not,
Wow.
Yeah, we're not hiding that from anybody.
Wow. Any
So-
final words, Tom?
Just that, again, CASA's committed to working with the health department, the police department. We have some events coming up, National Night Out.
Yes.
Oh,
in
we will be
Memorial
there.
Park.
Yes, we will.
We will have literature on the tables to push out information to the community. It's a
Awesome.
big community event. Thursday, the 29th of August, we do our overdose awareness candlelight vigil here on the
Here?
front steps
Yes.
of
Oh,
City
wow.
Hall
Okay.
at 8 o'clock in the evening. Again, there will be tables set up with resources and information. The more information we can push out into the community of what resources there are and what the problems are that we're facing, the better off we
Yeah.
are. So we've got a couple things that we're doing right
Awesome.
now, and then again, then September we'll be back in the schools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Layal can do her thing for the auditoriums.
Yeah,
for
and the health
students.
education.
Health
team.
education
Yeah, everybody's
team,
going to
we're
be
out.
trained.
And
Yeah.
we've got a tremendous relationship with Dr. Robitaille.
Yes.
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 Mike Doctor from the Board of Education, our community policing, Sergeant Giardina.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that we have as an organization, CASA as an organization, have not asked for that we don't get, and whether that's from John or community policing. It's really a great partnership, and
Awesome.
we're happy for it
Yes.
because it's gonna get us where we need to be
Yes.
Yeah.
here in the city.
Have you guys ever? I'm not sure how your guys are a board of trustees.
Mm-hmm.
If someone would like to join or just come, are those meetings
Our
public?
meetings are public.
Okay.
We're open to the public. They're the last Tuesday of every month at 6:30
Nice.
here in the health department. They can always contact me on my cell phone. It's on the website. It's on the Clifton website.
Okay.
And my cell phone number is 973-800-2938. And we're always looking for new volunteers.
All right.
Absolutely. But we do meet the last Tuesday. Last night was our meeting for this month. But we do meet the last Tuesday of every month.
All right.
Here in the
Thank
health
you.
department.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for
Thank you.
coming on Clifton Health On Air. I learned a lot. I hope our listeners learned a lot. And I just want to thank you so much for
good
everything
conversation.
you are doing. Yes, it was
Yes.
absolutely a wonderful conversation. And thank you so much and have a wonderful summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lauren, take us out.
Tune in to our podcast every other Monday for a new episode. If you have any questions, you can email us at health@cliftonnj.org. You can visit our website at www.cliftonnj.org. You can follow us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Clifton Health. And before we leave today, let us ask ourselves, did you make a difference in someone's life today?